So, in the aftermath of the shocking and deeply disturbing assassination of Charlie Kirk, and I'm still at that stage of shock where it's still not even real to me that this has happened. Um, Perhaps predictably, which is also shocking for me to say, predictably, there's been an online anti-Semitic response to this, somehow trying to suggest that Israel was behind it. I know, me neither. It's shocking for so many reasons. First of all, because Charlie Kirk was one of the most staunch non-Jewish supporters of Israel out there, and even though he was facing growing pressure to cave in to the anti-Semitic, anti-Israel right in America, he held the line, he held firm, and I knew he wouldn't change because he was so he believed at a biblical level that God blesses those who bless Israel and curses those who curse Israel. So I knew if he believes that, he's not going to waver from that. But at the same time, he was facing a lot of pressure, and so to say that Israel would want to get rid of Charlie, I mean, I hate even indulging in the narrative at all because it's so disgraceful. There's no evidence at all for it, but Israel actually saw Charlie as a massive asset to explaining Israel's case to the world. And what's been so shocking to me, and I'm going to show you this clip of Dave Smith in a second, because Dave Smith actually, surprisingly, refreshingly, pushes back on all of this and calls out people that are doing this. But people that knew Charlie, even those who are very close to him, and I don't want to say some particular people's names because they're still human beings going through grief, but even in their grief, they've pinned it on Israel. That shows you the madness of anti-Semitism, that they say this. But what's been remarkable, refreshingly, is that Dave Smith, who is deeply anti-Israel, but in the sort of right wing of America, has called out all this nonsense. They say a broken clock is still right twice a day. Let's have a watch of this, because this is quite, the fact that he is now breaking ranks with them, it shows just how shocking it has been. Have a watch.
Just try to stay away from that bad force. And I should say, one more thing that I just, because I, of whatever, I don't even want to get into the politics of any of it, but I did see, Ian Carroll, and I'm not trying to personally blast him or anything like that. I'm not starting any feuds or nothing like that. I've said nice things about Ian in the past. I know he's said nice things about me, but I see him out there and I've seen a bunch of other people doing this, but it's just if you want to go look through it, I mean, it's just crazy. But he had this post about how Israel did this. Israel just murdered Charlie Kirk. And you know me, I don't know. I'm biggest fan of Israel, but I literally just replied and I went, what evidence do we have that Israel was involved with this at all? And I mean, man, if you want to be disturbed, go look through the replies to that. It is unbelievable how people put together theory. They're like, what evidence do you have? By the way, the answer is none. We have absolutely no evidence. There is absolutely no reason to even suspect that is the case, let alone to determine that it's a fact. And all the things people are posing, it's just guys, Jesus Christ, man, I'm sorry. I just don't go for sloppy, kooky theories. If you got some evidence, bring it to me and I'll be the first one to look into it. But then people going he was waking up to Israel. Dude, he said release the Epstein files, and he once on an interview said the pro-Israel people are getting a little too crazy when they're accusing even me of being anti-Israel, but that's about it. And to his credit, he defended having me at the thing and having Tucker and Megan there and stuff, but you've just got no real theory here, and it just makes no sense at all. Telling me the government of Israel took out their number one guy who still had influence amongst young people. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I don't think it's I don't think it's I don't know. I think honestly, in a way, I think a lot of those guys might have fallen into their own dark force where they're just so wrapped up in blaming Israel and blame for everything that you start to see it, or you kind of desire that conclusion before you've even reached it. But I think like anyone, like, let's just breathe on this for a little bit. Let's get I'm again, as I say all the time, I'm not against a conspiracy theory. I love a good conspiracy theory. Lots of them are true, but like, you gotta like have a case to make. You got to have evidence, a coherent narrative, a through line, different, things that back up your assertions. It can't just be this like, just, I don't know. We'll just say that. We'll say it was them. Who cares? Like, I hate that.
Well, it's refreshing to hear at least some level of willingness to engage with the facts and reality from Dave Smith. And again, this is someone who is deeply hostile to Israel. But it's amazing. It's amazing how even he is seeing the derangement of the anti-Israel anti-Semites. Someone who himself is so, I would say, deranged in his anti-Israel views. I learned that Charlie Kirk was having a private conversation with Rabbi Pesach Walicki just a few days ago to prepare for his campus tour, to learn about how he can best defend Israel with all the most recent arguments that are coming Israel's way. It's just utterly deranged. But this, of course, has been the story of anti-Semitism. It's been from Jews using Christian babies' blood to bake matzah, to targeting children in Gaza, targeting them for death. This has been the story of anti-Semitism. So, in many ways, it's unsurprising, but here's two things to think about. The first thing is the fact that even someone like Dave Smith is seeing this. It gives me a bit of hope, actually. It gives me hope that the truth may just reveal itself and become clear to people, even those who are deeply hostile to Israel and the Jews, in time. Because the anti-Semites, the haters, will reveal themselves for who they truly are. This is the Jewish view of how history is going to manifest. One of the things I saw a great clip of Charlie Kirk recently where he was saying, how does he stay sane when he's fighting all the lies and nonsense, particularly on campuses, when he went onto campuses and just saw a new generation of people that were so perverse in so much of their thinking, or ill thought out, or overly ideological to a dangerous ideology. How did he maintain his composure and his sanity? And he said the answer was because of his faith, because he believes that in the end the truth will out. That's the Jewish view as well. But there's a slight nuance with the Jewish view that I want to share with you in a moment. But if you know ultimately the truth will win, that goodness will succeed, that Israel will thrive, that is the inevitable story of direction of the world and Jewish history, then you just know you can be a happy warrior. You just know that you're here to play your role in that fight. And Judaism believes that too, that is the inevitable future. But here's the really fascinating part. We don't believe that the world will come to this stage of goodness where evil is gone, that it will have to happen through miracles, that will have to happen through one side being victorious, the other side being defeated. But actually it's going to happen through everyone recognizing the truth. The lies revealing themselves, exposing themselves for what they truly are, and for the truth becoming clear to all. And that's what I think of when I see this Dave Smith clip. I'm not expecting him now to suddenly turn around and be Israel's greatest fan. But the point is the truth will inevitably reveal itself to all in the end. People reveal themselves ultimately in the end. And that's something that should give us a lot of heart. And then the second question is, well then what is it? If all this anti-Semitism is based on lies, what is it that's driving it ultimately? It's interesting to note that much of the hatred towards Israel and the Jews comes from the world of monotheism, the world of Islam and Christianity, and the West, and the secular West. Much less a problem in the East. Why is that? Well, you basically have, in Christianity and Islam, two religions that emerge, and I'm not speaking about all denominations here or making a statement about every single Christian and Muslim here, but there is a general kind of view that developed that the Jews are sort of rejected by God and that now they are the new vessels of God's chosen message and they are the new chosen people, so to speak. So if you believe that the Jews were once the chosen people, but they are not anymore, and that you are, and you have the new message, and the Jews are still kind of hanging around, and yeah, they've been exiled, but they're still sticking to their Torah and their beliefs and their practices, it's always going to kind of bother you. We're told by the sages that that's what anti-Semitism is about. They say the Sinah, which is Hebrew for hatred, comes from Sinai. It's a play on words. Sinai comes from Sinai, Mount Sinai. The moment where the Jews were chosen to be God's nation that would reveal himself to the world, to bring his presence into the world. And what they resent in the Jews is that very fact. Whether it's jealousy, resentment of the moral accountability that comes from the Torah, whatever it is, it's that very fact that they cannot come to terms with that bothers them so much. But we can't escape this fact. This is the inevitable direction of human history. And Jews have tried in the past to escape it and to assimilate, and what happens over time? The nations say, don't try to assimilate. You are Jewish, and we're going to make sure you remember that you're Jewish. So the only resolution of this is that the truth will finally and fully come out and no one will be able to deny it or hide it. Everyone will come to recognize that the Jewish people are God's chosen people, chosen to be his vessels for his light to the world. But that shouldn't be something to be jealous about. That should be something to be proud about, to be excited about, that you get to share in a world in which you can receive blessing from a nation charged with being a blessing to the world, a light to the nations. You're so focused on the light, but where's that light heading? So this is the future. This is the world that's coming. And we can't shy away from telling the truth. We have to say it clearly. And Charlie Kirk, even though of course he and I had different religious beliefs, he believed that by reading the Bible, the Torah, clearly, you could see that the Jewish people are God's chosen people for now and forever. That's his words, as well as mine, as well as the words of God himself. When God says this is something for eternity, you can take that to the bank. So this is what is going to be the inevitable future. And so we just have to keep sharing the truth and have the confidence that Charlie had, that the truth will reveal itself in time. And I actually think that's going to happen a lot sooner than many of us may expect. The Palestinians. We have been told they are an ancient people fighting for their homeland which has been stolen from them. This narrative has fueled decades of conflict, painting Israel as an occupier of stolen land. But what if this identity is not of an ancient nation, but a modern, cynical invention? A political construct designed not to build a state, but to dismantle the Jewish one. In this JTV Plus documentary, we're going to uncover the truth behind the creation of the Palestinian identity, how it was forged in the fires of pan-Arabism, absent in historical records until strategically rebranded in the 1960s by leaders like Egyptian-born Yasser Arafat to rally global opposition against Israel. We'll trace its roots from the Ottoman era, where Palestine was a region without a distinct people, through the pre-1948 years of Arab rejectionism, before focusing on the pivotal shift of the 1960s when Arafat declared we should now be known as Palestinians, inventing symbols like the flag to mask genocidal aims. This wasn't about self-determination, it was about exploiting refugees, suppressing true aspirations under Arab rule, and perpetuating a war to destroy Israel. Join us as we debunk the myths of an ancient Palestinian nation, expose the strategic manipulation, and reveal how this construct has hindered peace while fueling hate. Fair but firm, this is the story of an identity weaponized not for building a future, but for erasing one. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.